You're listening to Well, I Laughed, Part 1 of In the Night. Wait for me. Hello.
Hey.
I'm going to start off with a question. I'm Grant. Answer the
Maia.
question. That's philosophy.
Yes.
Socrates of my time. No, here's the question. Have I talked to you about what a loco moco is?
No. Hi. If you don't want to hear what a loco moco is, feel free to use the chapter function to skip straight to Grant's story, which I'm sure is riveting. But if you're here for the loco moco, Grant, take it away.
Stay here. Love that. Also, we're getting so good at that.
I know. Look at us doing it right away.
Okay, so if I had to ask you to go ahead and guess what a loco moco is, what do you think it would be?
Some kind of beverage.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of listeners right now screaming at how wrong we are.
How?
Let me set the scene for you.
Okay.
It is the morning after Black Hawk. Me and my boyfriend are waking up in the hotel room, and we're both, maybe a little hungover from our fun time we had in Black Hawk. That we all had in Black Hawk.
Yes.
And as we're like doom scrolling on our phones, right, whatever, kind of taking a moment to recharge, he goes, oh, I could really go for a loco moco right now. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm sure there's some like coffee cart downstairs. I can go get him a frappuccino, like if that's what he wants. And then later we can talk about why he's drinking frappuccinos as a hangover cure. But like, that's fine for right now. And so I go, oh, okay, cool. Like, what's in it?
Yeah. Oh, no.
And he goes, rice. And I go, okay. So before you say the next ingredient, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so he describes it to me, and I was like, okay, crazy. And then later on that day, I'm with Lydia, and I go, oh, okay, Lydia. So like, this sounds delicious, but if I were to tell you like what a loco moco is, like, what do you think it is? And then she rattles off the ingredients perfectly.
She would.
And I go, what? She goes, yeah, Grant, come on. I've been to Hawaii before.
Oh my God.
And yes, she has.
Yeah, I mean, yes, she has. She'll tell us all about it, too.
Loco moco is bed of white rice,
Okay.
hamburger patty.
Just sitting on top of the bed of rice? Okay.
On top of the hamburger patty,
Yeah.
sunny side up egg,
Interesting. Okay.
and then top it all off with brown gravy.
Okay. Yeah. I have no notes. It does sound vaguely Asian, so I do believe that it's popular in Hawaii. Yeah. Do I think I would ever crave that? No.
Interesting, because you like souse.
I love a souse.
You love souse.
I love a souse. I don't know how I feel about that much beef in the morning. That much red meat feels kind of like a lot. Kind of where I draw the line in terms of meat is like sausage, patty,
You
like
mean James Dean?
ham, the singer, or like a sausage link. I don't know that my body would appreciate that much of that, or like the whatever meat is on like a regular Benedict. I think it's usually like ham or something like that. I can
little
do.
cube of ham.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Here's the thing. From what I've gathered, a loco moco is an any time of day meal. Either that or my boyfriend and I just had breakfast for dinner last night and I
honestly,
didn't know it.
I don't think food should have labels. Like gender is a spectrum. I believe food should also be a spectrum. I want to eat cereal at any time of the day. I want to have an eggs Benny I want to have a smoked salmon eggs Benny on every diner menu I go to, available at all hours of the day.
Because everyone knows the best thing you can get at a diner is salmon that's ready at any
Smoked
time of
salmon,
day.
all right. And also, to any brunch places out there, put a smoked salmon Benny on your menu. Like, I love a regular Benny, but now that I've had a smoked salmon Benny, there's no going back for
With
me.
like a little bit of hollandaise sauce and some dill sprinkled on top. Yeah.
Yes. It's like Lox Bagel meets Benedict.
Yeah.
It's the perfect love child. Also, the brunch place over there, now I'm just on brunch.
Love that.
Has a smoked Gouda grits. Oh my God, you guys. I love brunch.
That one place that we went that one time afterwards, and
Yes.
and okay, that
Yep.
one, love that place.
I like that
We know exactly what we're talking about, but
And
we're
that one person
keeping
showed
it
up.
anonymous. I also, funny enough, had brunch yesterday.
Screw you, honestly.
Well, I mean,
I want brunch.
we went to that diner across the street from my house.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
That's where James Dean is.
Yes, where James Dean is. So good. But we sit down and the waitress is like, "Can I get you guys anything to drink?" And my boyfriend and I had talked about it before walking in. So I goes, "Yeah, we'll do 2 waters, 2 Bloody Marys, and I'll do a cup of coffee, please." And she got like real big-eyed for a second, like she'd never seen a beverage goblin before or something.
And you knew what you wanted. See, I usually wait to at least order one of them. Like I order one, either the alcoholic one or the coffee right off the bat, and then wait to order the other one when she comes back for the food.
Ripped them all off right away. And
Good
that
for
meant
you.
when the coffee arrived, I could take a singular sip of water. That's enough of that for the day. And then
Hey.
start munching down on my Bloody Mary as I let my cup of coffee cool for a second. There's a whole science behind it.
It's
At
beautiful.
school now, I have also started to say, I like to reuse every part of my cold brew in the morning, kind of like, Native Americans did. But what I'm doing is taking the ice from my now finished iced coffee
And drinking it as water later.
putting it in the hot coffee I'm actively brewing right now.
At no point is this max hydration. No point. He has an opportunity to be like more hydration. Like coffee does hydrate you despite what they tell you.
Right, it's made out of water.
Yeah, but like the caffeine has a whole fucking interaction with like the way that you process water. But at some point he was like, this could hydrate me. But no. Let's just
keep caffeinating me first and foremost. Yeah.
The way I was feeding this man like he was my 6-year-old niece.
I
It
would be
worked.
upset about something, and you'd be like, "When was the last time you ate?" We're talking about the state
tournament,
speech and debate tournament, and she'd be like, "When was the last time you ate?" And I was like, "It has been 3 days since I last ate, but I have the right to be upset about what's happening
And I
right
was
now."
like, that's no. Yeah, you have the right to be upset, but that doesn't change that. Please eat something for the love of God. He would come into the judges' lounge just to prove that he actively was eating something. And that was really
because I
reassuring
was being
for me.
cyberbullied by my podcast host.
I don't
for not.
see what's either you get cyberbullied or you get my minute-by-minute comments.
I'll say this.
No matter what's going on.
Not to express gratitude or whatever,
Yeah.
but like the entire friend group turned out for one or both days of state, and that was super cool. So thank you guys. Okay, moving on.
Sorry, except for when we went to pick up Danny to come judge.
Go ahead. Share your truth.
He got in the car with nothing in his hands. He, I think, had a pocket with keys and his wallet in it. And he just fucking hopped in the Bohawk's truck. And I want you all to know I'm a good person because I was the only one in the back seat and apparently the only one who noticed he didn't have anything with him. I thought about it for like 2 seconds of just letting it go. But I didn't. I was like, hey, do you have a laptop? And he went, do we need a laptop? And Lydia like pulled over and was like, go get a laptop. You're going to want it. And then he was like, yeah, the last time I judged it was on paper. And I was like, in 1998? Like, what do you mean the last time you judged it was on paper?
And then he goes, no, 2019. Like pre-pandemic is a better timeline than 1998 at this point.
I still don't understand how you were judging on paper, but okay. And that was beautiful.
Oh, you've never judged on paper before?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I would rather die.
I mean, there's certain nostalgia around it.
I mean, I understand, like, we literally just do the same thing, but now it's on a platform, and I do keep all of my notes because I'm psychotic, and put them, I have a huge notes app folder.
I will say this, the one thing that I miss, there's 2 things I miss the most about paper ballots. I didn't love them, especially now that I know how virtual works, but like I had some beautiful, beautiful systems set up to get that paper turned around that school as quickly as possible. 2 things I missed though. You would get a packet of paper ballots in the tab room,
Right.
and you would go through them all. And every now and then, a judge will have ranked children 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have to go track down the judge with
To
the
make
paper
sh-
ball.
yeah.
No, to like you can't
See
do
which
that.
3
You
is-
have
yeah,
is
4,
the 3,
yeah.
and you cascade everyone down. And so that was always fun, being like, hey, sorry, you can't count, but like, I need you to fix this. It was like we had told them they had misspelled their name. They would always be mortified. But then second, at the tournament, when you had paper ballots, filing the paper ballots away into team folders was the job you gave your most irresponsible children, because it did not matter
what happened
at all to it. Like, the tournament was going to proceed. Like, us coaches wanted them, but that doesn't actually slow down the tournament at all. So you could sit in the ballot room and like sit near your little folder and read the ballots as they came in.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
what you were really doing was listening to all the drama that was happening on this team that was just being put out on full display in the ballot room.
Wait a minute.
Because they wouldn't view us coaches as their peers, and thus we
would
didn't
just say
exist.
anything.
Yeah, they'd be like, no, and John Smith, our team captain, is a total bitch, and I hate her, and here's the 18 reasons why, and you know she's cheating on her boyfriend, right? So anyways, and it's like, blah, blah, blah. I love how I said John Smith and her in the same sentence, but
fine.
It was that kind of like, and even if I'm not here for the drama, like I am here to like read my ballots, like check my students' time, see how it's going. It's not a bad background sound.
No, it's not. It's actually one of my favorite hobbies in the entire world. I have a story about that. But
Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's completely unrelated to state.
That's fine. We're going to pivot away.
Okay.
This is the third story I want to tell you, not about state.
Perfect. So. Casey and I went and got a beer at the beer garden, and I've heard some truly wild things at that beer garden, specifically around these fires. There's a story I told like a while ago of this man who was like talking to someone clearly in the most toxic relationship, and then the reveal at the end was that they were getting engaged.
The fires at this beer garden are Denver's last remaining third place.
It's fucking beautiful. I love going there. Sometimes Casey will be like, I'll go, but I don't want to sit outside. And I'm like, okay, well, you can come if you want, but I'm sitting outside because I want to sit by these fires and hear what the fuck is going on. There was a group of women at the the fire next to me. I have no idea what the conversation was, because you know how sometimes there's in a friend group there's always one voice that you can hear better than the rest, and it's not necessarily because they're louder, it's just like the pitch of their voice or something. You could just hear it a lot more clearly. Here are some phrases I heard this woman say. No, but, and then I was like, what if the Obamas show up to this wedding and I'm giving a speech and the Obamas are there?
A valid question. What if?
I want you to know at least 3 of these women had their sweaters tied over their shoulders, like classic like East Coast moms. Next thing. You can't remember your first blowjob? It was Greg Schumer. What?
That's actually the kind of relationship Lydia and I have.
Yeah,
we would cue each other. Don't you remember your first sex? You told us about all the time.
I guess the other woman was like,
What's
no.
Greg Schumer?
I don't remember. First and last name. Maybe I misheard, but that's what I heard, and it made it even funnier. How did you marry someone from Kansas?
Amazing. An excellent question as well.
He seems amazing, but he's an alcoholic.
Because he's from Kansas.
I have no idea. I was obsessed with these women. Casey and I would look at each other and be like, there is no telling what this conversation is about. I have no idea.
This perfectly segues into, so now that the state tournament's done, we're starting like post-season stuff, which is really like art but make it fashion, but also don't make me like organize too much stuff. So in my varsity acting class, we are doing this week as a mini unit celebrity impersonations.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Is this one of the ones that I saw? Maybe he was a debate kid. The one that came up to us at the end and started doing an impression.
Oh, that's so great. No, he's a debate kid. That's a whole different arc.
Okay,
this is my varsity acting kids. I showed them select appropriate cuts from RuPaul's Drag Race Snatch Game
Incredible.
to like teach them about a celebrity impersonation, because I'm like, here's the thing about celebrity impersonation. We don't want you to actually memorize like monologues and things they've said. Where this is not DIHI duo.
Yeah.
We want you to live with these characters and then respond as they would. And the thing is too about, and then my co-teacher was like, and the thing about these celebrity impersonations is like, we need to know that you have like at least some kind of level of respect or appreciation for the person that you're impersonating. And with that, then like the impersonation is just both like an ode to them, like you love them, and at the same time you're like, but like this is kind of some of the funny things you do, right? It's like love through noticing things like that. So it can't be just some regular person you don't like in your biology class, okay? Like there needs to be source material for it. We need to be able to pull it up. And then you need to be able to speak authentically from their voice without it actually being their words. And so, of course, as a good teacher, I'm like, I have an example for you for what that could be like. And so I played them clips. Have you ever heard any clips from Julia Fox's book? Julia Fox is the one who goes Uncut Gems, who I think for like a little bit dated Kanye West.
Yes.
She wrote a crazy biography, one that I've always wanted to turn into a script. So I played the class portions of this audiobook. Here are portions of this audiobook.
Did I seriously just wait 16 hours to get slapped in the face in front of the dead Pope? I didn't even get to have a moment with him.
And then it'll jump again to like a different chapter, different page. And so it's going to feel like it's all one monologue, but stay with me.
Okay.
I walk them out and then get on my hands and knees and scour the carpet for cocaine residue. Mistakenly rubbing cigarette ashes on my gums. I come to in an ambulance with vomit all around me. Even the paramedics are covered in vomit. In a routine visit to the probation office, I scan my hand and get an unexpected notification that I've been randomly selected for a drug test. Luckily, my dad gave me his pee, which I had warmed up in the microwave before biking over, so I'm not worried. I ordered 200 hissing cockroaches from Madagascar and convinced my old friend Serena to release them in the club in exchange for $100.
Okay, so you understand her voice a little bit. So I was like, so to be able to live from that voice, that experience, like, you know, you try to figure out what their vibe is and things like that. So I was like, class, ask me a question. Like, just ask me a question and I'll show you kind of like, I haven't done obviously a lot of work around Julia Fox, like to create a convincing celebrity impersonation. Like, here you go. Like, here's like starting step one, right? And so the kid was like, okay, Julia, how was your morning? And I go, it was good. My friend Miranda and I did cocaine and then we biked our way here to school. She got hit by a car. Is that the world's best Julia Fox impersonation? No, it's not.
But it's funny.
It's the start of something.
It paints a world. That is for certain. Oh, it's beautiful.
And so that's been a lot of fun.
I love
because
that
in
for
the
you.
other two varsity classes, I'm like, there is new legislation for Congress qualifiers, and we will be doing a mock debate. More.
Right now.
Exactly.
In session.
I'm like, okay, actors. Hi, people. Today we're going to play a game called The First Person Who Cries Wins.
So youth group didn't have any effect on you, or
Donald Trump, come in, Donald Trump. You can hear Donald Trump.
Lord and Savior Donald Trump.
Youth group famously has no effects on anybody. Certainly didn't make any of my peers kinder.
Grant almost died in an Australian snack.
I'm still here, though.
You are still
By
here.
the grace of God.
Well, of someone, that's for
Do
sure.
you know who's still here from the grace of God?
Who?
Jesus.
And Timothy Chalamet.
Pop off, queen.
Did you hear what he said?
The ballet thing.
Yeah, the ballet thing. He said in an interview with Matthew McConaughey, which I haven't seen all of Matthew's response, but I want to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know? Anyway, Timothy Chalamet said, I don't want to work in ballet or opera or any of those places that nobody gives a shit about because it's like, oh, we're just trying to keep this alive and no one cares and I'm going to lose 14% of my like fans because of this. The Opera of Seattle, I believe, is now offering a discount code Timothy for 14% off their opera tickets. That person needs to be the head of marketing for everything.
In many ways, the internet makes everything better.
It really does. People are just taking this and running with it. And I'm obsessed.
Too, is like you see Timothy Chalamet, you see old Tim.
Yeah.
And you're like,
there's no way he's a good guy.
No, well, but also like you're kind of like a rat-nosed little like dancer freak, you know? Like you should love ballet. It's mainstreamed your body type.
There's a very fine line between looking like a rat man and being like the fetish of like every 20-something-year-old. Like across the globe. Like what's that? He was in Top Gun. What's his name?
I never
There's
saw
also
Top
a guy,
Gun.
the guy
I'm
that did
liberal.
Elvis.
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler, and then there's another one. I cannot remember his name. He was also in Divergent, and there's been a couple other rom-coms.
Jesse Palmer?
No, it's not. Anyway, they have just slutty little rat mustaches.
Right.
And there's a very fine line between being like that kind of like sex icon somehow with that face and being the most disgusting little creep. You can't, like, there is no in between for you, Timmy boy. And I get that you're dating a Kardashian or a Jenner, but none of this is helping. He also was in an interview where he was upset about this woman that he had watched on a different interview brag that she didn't have any kids. And he said, a life without kids is so bleak. Like, we're here on this earth to procreate.
Oh. Who says that?
Timothy.
Oh, gross.
I know.
Gross.
The fact that he plays Willy Wonka is way freakier now for some reason. Gross.
I never saw that movie either.
I didn't
because
either.
I'm that liberal.
But he has watched Saltburn a number of times he will not disclose.
Yeah, duh. Because I'm that liberal.
Also, if you're in my fucking DMs right now defending Wuthering Heights, get out of there. I'm not responding to that
Are you
shit.
getting those?
I don't know if any of their listeners have, but I have seen some notifications come through. Heathcliff was meant to be black, and if you're going to tell me that there's another fucking white actor that could have played him better than Jacob Elordi, then you don't understand. Also, sorry, I need to get off that soapbox. It's getting ridiculous.
Is this you getting off that soapbox?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'm going to use this as an opportunity to remind you that the perfect movie ever created already exists.
And
it
is?
came out in 2002, and it is, of course, My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
That's
like,
fair.
The perfect
Were you just
movie.
Googling when it came out?
Yeah, 100%. I had to set up the joke.
Yeah. We can't be fact-checked on that.
I was like, if you watch the movie, there's a lot of American flags in it, so you know it's close to 9/11, but after, not before.
Yeah. Everyone's feeling very patriotic.
Correct. And it's the perfect movie. And
it is perfect.
I forced my partner to watch it last night. He loved it. Great.
For the first time?
Yes, first time. He'd never seen it before. So
That's shocking.
That's great. Huge. Amazing.
It should be a part of the gay curriculum by now. But
Should be part of the curriculum by now.
It's like, I will teach it.
Yeah, absolutely happy to. Last story I want to share, and this is the magic of bringing someone new into our group. And the thing about my partner is he is not, for his sake, in our main Denver group chat
For
yet.
his sake.
Which is, in many ways, we've created our own social media platform
We
in
have.
that group
There's
chat.
so much drama when someone needs to leave or be added.
Yes.
It's a technical nightmare.
And
IT
God-
would have no idea what to do with it.
And God help you if you ask a question about something that's already been covered in the
You're
group
about
chat.
to get roasted.
Yeah, God forbid maybe you were working during the 20 minutes on a random Wednesday that topic was discussed.
Hey, if I'm gonna bully your students for not scrolling up and finding an answer, you can bet I'm gonna roast your ass for not doing it.
No one tell him, Grant, there's 47 messages that you need to get through, and that'll tell you what your answer is. So today, my partner texted me, and he goes, hey, so what the fuck is this event Lydia just sent me the information to? There's no other information.
What event is it?
And it's titled Burlesque and Bachelorette.
Oh, I was there for that.
And I was like, well, he's like, who's it for? And I'm like, well, I think it's just kind of like a general vibe in our group that like
just an
we're
event.
generally pretty pro burlesque.
Love
so I think
burlesque.
we're going to like a burlesque
You guys
show.
have gone to a burlesque show
Yeah.
as a date,
He-
right?
He brought
an early date.
on our second
Yeah.
date. He brought me to burlesque, and I was like, "This man is a freak, and I'm obsessed with him."
Yeah.
And I was right, and
Yeah.
I was right on both accounts. So I'm like not concerned about him being freaked out or prudish about our group being
going to a burlesque show.
right, but I was like, oh, maybe he just didn't appreciate like how intense we are about
We
everything.
love the performing arts.
We just literally are patrons of the arts.
Yes. Quite literally.
And I go, oh, I think it's like just a burlesque show close to Lydia's house that like she wants to go to. And then he was like, okay, but it says bachelorette. So like, who's it for? And I had to be like, oh, no. Then she wants to walk back to her place and group watch The Bachelorette.
I was there for the conception of this plan.
And thus also there for the Google form that gets sent out.
Did it get sent out?
Yes.
When?
That's today. That's what prompted this whole conversation with me and my partner.
Oh, it did get sent out. I haven't been paying attention.
In the group chat.
Sometimes there's a lot going on in that group chat, and I plug in and plug out.
Welcome to my side of the argument, Maya. It's nice over here.
Yeah, but I don't complain and bitch about it when I'm not willing to find an answer that it's my fault. I don't know.
That's an aesthetic choice, not my fault.
No, it's not an aesthetic choice.
Fine, agree to disagree.
Stupid ass choice.
Agree to disagree. Your words, not mine.
Get the fuck out.
I can't. I'm contractually obligated to finish this episode. Like friendship contract, but still all the same.
Well, now I'm going to make you sign a contract.
Let's not start negotiating.
It's too late. Negotiations have begun.
So yeah, just like really fun. You know, we've been together for a little bit now, and it's still like, oh, no, my friend group's actually way more intense than you had originally already known them to be intense as.
About 80% of that intensity does come from Lydia. And then there's 10% from me, 10% from Tyler.
None of us are holding back any of the intensity. No,
but Lydia does take the cake on intensity. Love her so much. I've never made this many Google forms for this many events.
I want you to know I have only made slightly more Google forms than Lydia has, and that is for my
teacher,
classroom job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lastly, last little friend group update, then we can jump into the story today.
And then I have questions about current events.
Oh, right. We'll do that next, and then story.
Okay.
I'm getting dinner with our dear friend Tyler tomorrow, and I'm very,
good.
very excited
He's
for
alive?
it. Yes.
Tell him I miss him.
I mean, it'll probably ruin the dinner, so I'll tell him towards the end. No, totally kidding.
He texted me the day that I was coming up to Breck, and I was coming up a day late, or like several days late, and the plant, I like showed up to the townhouse or the condo, and it was fine. He texted me and was like, sorry, I missed you, but you were getting some Z's, and I wanted you to sleep well. And I was like, when?
Oh, do you not know this?
No.
He fully came back to the condo to change out of his gear stuff, and you were napping upstairs in the loft.
Oh, no, because that was the second day, and he had sent me this the first day. Yeah, huh? Because I remember getting it, and I was like, bitch, you have no idea. Yeah, it was sent on the 28th, which is a Saturday, which is the day that I got there. I napped Saturday. Hold on. What time was it? He may have been there. I take it all back.
So I'm seeing Tyler tomorrow for
Wait,
dinner.
no, because I didn't sleep. I was awake the entire time.
And
Hayden slept.
And just didn't come down to talk to him when he came in?
I didn't hear anyone.
Okay.
I'm very confused.
I wasn't there. But this has been great radio.
It's going to get cut, at least in part.
So I'm getting dinner with Tyler tomorrow. And I love him so much, and I'm very much excited to see him. And we've been trying to make plans. And Tyler is the friend that will go above and beyond to make you comfortable. And so he's like, I'm happy to come down to Denver just as long as you're like willing to pick me up from like an RTD station, like maybe Union Station or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, totally happy to do that. Not an issue at all. Also, I like driving.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm happy to drive up to Boulder
you, yeah.
if you want. Like, I'm never there at all, and you come down all the time. And then his response was, I haven't been to this restaurant in a while, and as long as you can pick me up from Union Station, that sounds great. And part of me is like, you didn't read the message at all, or
no.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Maybe you do miss the restaurant. That
who
sounds
knows?
Great, amazing. So I don't know who I'm getting dinner with, or at what time, or where tomorrow.
I will tell you, if you're picking up 2 people and not 1, you let me know.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
I'll kill a bitch.
I will.
Okay.
You have some questions about geopolitics.
Geopolitics.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to Maia doesn't really understand what's going on in the world and tried Googling, and Google was no help. So we invaded Iran.
Kind of.
We attacked Iran.
Very correct.
Yes. Okay. With Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, or what they're saying is because we want to destroy their nuclear program.
Yeah, but regime change is the ultimate
Regime
goal.
change, which we have never successfully done.
Well, that's actually the whole LD topic right now.
I
it's
know.
complicated.
I judged an LD round for that topic, and the affirmative was like, we shouldn't intervene. Instead, we should use trade embargoes.
Right. Like, here's the thing. Iraq is more of a democracy now than it was under Saddam Hussein.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not the price Iraq has paid to get to this point, it was worth it, is not a question that was put to the Iraqi civilians before the violence started.
We just think we know best.
Right.
Mother.
Right. And so
best.
Success is a really complicated term there.
Yeah. Okay. So we want regime change, and I can fucking get that, I guess. Doesn't seem like we succeeded so far, considering, but
a fair read.
Why do we care so much about Iran's nuclear program?
Really good point. Our concern is a couple of different folds.
Mm-hmm.
First, Iran's ability to develop a nuclear weapon in conjunction with its ability to develop intercontinental ballistic missiles puts the United States homeland, like where the U.S. civilians live, at threat against one of America's like biggest rivals.
Right.
Assuming that any nation would actually use nuclear weapons against us because it's certain extinction for the other regime.
So, but other countries have nuclear weapons.
About
and
6 or
nuclear
7
programs.
of them. Yeah.
So why are we so adamant about Iran and not all of them?
Because they are either our friends who are part of like a nuclear pact together.
Right.
China and Russia, who trying to topple their regimes would end the world through nuclear winter. Or in a handful of cases, like North Korea has nuclear weapons.
Right.
They're protected by Russia and China to a certain degree, so regime change can't happen there. And then India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons that are largely pointed just towards each other. And no country has really enough influence over those two to force
figure out how to get them to stop.
disarmament.
Right.
Not to say like that's less of a concern,
Yeah.
but those countries' nuclear arsenals, at last time I remember learning about it, weren't sufficient enough to end the world, but were sufficient enough to cause incredible damage in the most densely populated part of the world.
Okay. And then why the fuck do we want to change their regime? Is it related to the nuclear program?
Yeah, that's another great question.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to try to like choose a side of neutrality here, but I'm going to try to like lay it out in a way that maybe is most logically understanding. Like the regime in Iran right now was founded during the Iranian Revolution that happened in the 70s that took out a Iranian leader that was very friendly to the United States.
The Shah?
Yes. Okay. Formerly like also kind of like the king of Iran.
I've been learning some things on Google. Unfortunately, when you Google why is this happening, you only get things that are happening today, which is fucked up.
And so the Shah was replaced by the supreme leader of the Ayatollah, and there have been 2, now 3 after we assassinated another nation's leader. And they have largely maintained power through like a secret police, violent crackdowns on its civilians, but also through like this unifying message of like America is this huge threat to our national security. And by national security, Iran kind of generally means Iran would like to be the biggest player in the Middle East / Southwest Asia. And the United States is an oversized influence in the region.
Oh, in like other areas, particularly Iraq, Afghanistan?
Well, yes, which surrounded Iran and that wasn't great geopolitics wise in terms of like long-term peace. But also the United States and Saudi Arabia have this crazy marriage of convenience.
Right.
And Saudi Arabia, for cultural reasons as well as geopolitical reasons, is a huge rival of Iran.
Oh, okay. I mean, they're right across that. Red
for like
Dead
girlies of World War II, it'd be like the United States with nuclear weapons picking a side between France and Germany kind of stuff, right? Like it's heavy finger on the scale, enemies of each other.
Yeah.
So Iran, for the last, I want to give a number like roughly 20 years, probably longer, maybe not, kind of depends. Iran has then approached that situation with a strategy
Mm-hmm.
of secretly funding, and now less secretly funding, militia groups throughout the Middle
Is this
East.
the IRC or something?
And so that's the Iranian
IRG.
Republican Guard,
Yeah.
which is their formal
Revolutionary.
military. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is their formal military.
Okay.
But like, for instance, they are closely tied with the organization Hezbollah, which is in
Right.
Jordan, which launches attacks at Israel.
Right.
And there's religious and geopolitical reasons for that. Israel being an ally of the United States certainly doesn't help it. They're funding other organizations elsewhere too. Like they helped funnel money to I believe it was certain ISIS groups to destabilize like Iraq and things like that. And it has used its like networks of militias to destabilize other regions and try to exert more influence over them. So this leads us back to the original question, like why
do
do
we
military
care?
action? Why now?
Yeah.
That's actually a harder question to answer
Yeah.
because the current administration has not given us concrete proof
Answer.
as
Yeah.
to why.
Yeah.
The Trump administration is saying that Iran was very close to developing a nuclear weapon. This was only a couple months after they proclaimed loudly that
We
a U.S.
destroyed all of
Israel
it.
airstrike
Yeah.
had destroyed all of it, but that narrative is no longer convenient for what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Truthfully, my own now personal read on the situation was that airstrike 6 months ago showed that there is actually very little breaks stopping the Trump administration
Yes.
from doing something. And so that opened the door that allowed them to start planning things. And then recently, Iran has been rocked by internal civil
Right,
unrest related
right.
to other more domestic issues.
Yeah.
And I think the Trump administration saw an opportunity to attack Iran's government, claim it was trying to help these
A regime
revolutions
change, yeah,
in the
yeah.
street through a regime change, when ultimately what they're trying to do is kind of strike down an enemy in the region.
Okay.
But also, as an average American citizen, the term enemy in the region is so
Yeah.
nebulous. Like, what do I, as an average American, have against the average Iranian? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
What does their death gain me? Nothing. Does their existence really pose a threat to us? No, not really.
Yeah.
At least that's my own read on it. And that seems to be the read of the U.S. senators and members of the House of Representatives from the Democratic Party especially,
Yeah.
who have been given access to the information
The
and
intel, yeah.
right, and don't seem compelled to, you know. Now, what's really interesting in all of this
Yeah.
is the fact that a U.S. president is able to take military action without congressional approval.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you understand why that is a thing?
I don't understand how he did it. No.
So after the September 11th terrorist attacks, the U.S. Congress passed a series of laws, kind of famously the Patriot Act being one of them. But one of the things it did was give a lot of freedom to U.S. presidents to use military force as they see fit
In like an emergency situation.
to fight the war on terror.
Oh my God.
And so if most of these conflicts will never rise to the full occasion of like a formal declaration of war.
Right.
And so there are special military actions,
Yes.
which doesn't necessarily require the approval of Congress. Congress can pass bills, resolutions, whatever, to try to stop that military action. They do,
Right.
in theory at least, have the ability to revoke the U.S. military's permission to be acting accordingly.
Okay.
But Trump did this action while Republicans control both the House and Senate, you know?
Right. So yeah.
Right. So like the vote to cease military operations in Iran failed in the House of Representatives already. So the conflict will continue.
That's great.
Right.
And we were at war with Iraq twice.
Kind of, yes.
Okay. What? So it started with September because the first war was started in 2003.
No.
No.
First war with Iraq happened in 89.
Oh.
George H.W. Bush. The first.
It was both Bushes.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yes. Funny, if not tragic for millions of people.
Yes. Why did we? So the second time we attacked, I'm assuming, was part of the war on terror.
Yes,
Like
vaguely.
in response to 9/11.
So the first time we invaded Iraq,
Yeah.
Iraq under then dictator Saddam Hussein
Right.
had used his army to invade the nation of Kuwait, which is a small, tiny country, kind of a Luxembourg-style country between Iraq and Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
They had invaded them. Kuwait was an ally of the United States and also, coincidentally, like rich in oil. And so George H.W. Bush was like, get out. Iraq was like, no. And so George H.W. Bush led an international coalition and forced the Iraqis out of Kuwait and did a couple of like strategic airstrikes. Looked like it scared the Iraqi regime enough to like sue for peace. That was the first Gulf War.
Okay.
Second war rolls around. After September 11th in 2001, the United States has boots on the ground in Afghanistan in 2002, like very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But that conflict is less descriptive because we're fighting the Taliban, kind of trying to do like some nation building. It's also like a counterterrorism thing because there's a huge al-Qaeda network in Afghanistan. And then the Bush administration starts trotting around that Saddam Hussein's regime in Iraq has developed weapons of mass destruction, WMDs.
We be doing the same shit.
Literally.
Every time.
And so they're essentially like, Iraq has these weapons of mass destruction, which pose a threat to U.S. allies and the United States itself. Military action is needed to force Saddam Hussein out of power because he refuses to turn over these weapons of mass destruction. And trust us, we have evidence towards this. And you have like Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice and other people like Dick Cheney, like vouching for them. Yeah. That launches the second Gulf War in Iraq, where we invade and topple Saddam Hussein and try to put in a democracy. And then don't find a single weapon of mass destruction.
And then most importantly, that mother had a flat Stanley that she took a photo of.
The way I forgot about that listener story completely.
It wasn't even a listener story. It was a tweet you showed me one day.
Was it?
Yeah. We talked about flat Stanleys.
Even better. No, I swear to God, we got a listener email.
We got a listener email about Flat Stanley, but you showed me the Flat Stanley about Saddam
Hussein's. Yeah. Now, do you know what's really interesting about all of these conflicts I've walked us through real quick? In toppling the Saddam Hussein regime, we created a power vacuum in Iraq. And do you know what partially filled that power vacuum? Iranian-backed militias.
Cool. Yeah. Does Iran also support Hamas? I can't remember which side they ended up on.
Kind of, to a degree. Yeah. I think the connection to Hezbollah is a lot better.
Stronger, yeah.
If they maybe 100% do, and I just don't know enough about that topic yet. I also do believe that Iran might be supporting the Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Right. There's so many names of rebels.
Yeah. So there's some complex. I personally believe the U.S. military action in Iran is illegal. Yeah. Aside from it being probably also ill-advised.
It feels like there's no reason why, and they're lying about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's reports are starting to emerge from journalists that the White House has viewed like Trump's legacy could be foreign policy if he can topple the regimes of Venezuela, Iran, and Cuba.
Yeah, I heard Cuba's on the list. That's fun for us. And I love that it's all happening just so coincidentally around the same time that there's all this drama about the Epstein files and
the upcoming midterm elections
and then replacement of about 65,000 documents, including testimony from Katie, I can't remember her last name, Johnson, I want to say, I'm so sorry if I'm wrong, that she was raped by Trump consistently while she was a child, between the ages of like 12 to 16. Yeah. And that testimony so coincidentally left and then around the same time was put back in, and now we're at war. So that's fun. Not saying one is more important than the other. Don't get it twisted, but don't forget about the other. You know?
Also, as we talk about all of this, the U.S. taking out Maduro in Venezuela caused a geopolitical crisis there. Venezuela was helping provide oil to Cuba, and those have obviously stopped or slowed down after the U.S. seized a bunch of that oil.
Trying to weaken them too?
Well, what we have done is just made life a lot harder for the average Cuban, which is oftentimes what actually happens when we engage in military action.
Yep. Okay, well, hope you also learned something.
Sorry if you did.
And we're going to refresh drinks and then get into our story.
Maia,
Yes.
what is your favorite song from the musical Hadestown?
Oh. See, that's a complicated.
You asking me about geopolitics, me asking you about Hadestown.
See, now,
that's an interesting thing that you asked. And it starts off in the H.W. Bush administration.
And believe it or not, we'll pick back up under Bush. No, it is first act, wait for me. Second act, if it's true.
Yeah. So after this story,
Yes.
I want you to look up stuff correct
Okay.
on TikTok because I, with the curse of my history degree, stumbled into like one of those like slideshow gallery things about tonight's topic with the song "Wait for Me, I'm Coming," and it was.
I'm so excited for you to watch this musical. You're not ready.
You're not prepared for the next sentence I'm about to say.
Not.
These TikTok gallery slideshows were about a ship.
Bitch, are you doing the Titanic right now?
I'm not doing the Titanic right now. I'm doing the ship that saves her.
I don't know what that is.
The RMS Carpathia.
Oh, I thought like you were saying the ship that saves her is like the name of the ship. And I was like, that's a wild
So literal.
Yeah.
The ship that saved her, and it's just some divorced woman's pleasure cruise yacht. Speedboat thing.
The sex
with a
raft that I
dinghy.
covered.
Yeah. The boat that saved her, and it just has a disco ball and Shania Twain blasting from it. Hey, if you're
And a new
19 and
sports
love
car.
making lifelong memories, woo.
Quarter life crisis happening
life
here.
crisis. No, I'm great. But when I buy a boat and I named it the ship that saved him, sink it for me, okay?
For the insurance money.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I still reserve the right to do a Titanic episode at some point.
Oh, yeah.
If I want to.
I
want to.
I didn't think it would because you texted me before this episode saying it's short and it's
funny.
fun.
Right.
And I was like, that's a crazy thing to say about the Titanic. It was short and I think someone had fun.
In many ways, this actually kind of feels like a Titanic main episode, mini episode, which is like I would want to include this information and would struggle to fit it into a
So you're
story
prepping
about
for
the Titanic.
eventually when you do the Titanic, you
Listen,
can say, and now.
If I've learned anything, I'm not going to commit myself to anything like that,
but
you know?
At some point.
And also, I have thought about how I would start a story about the Titanic, and it's about a ship. That is not how, I'm not saying I'm pulling off the reveal of all reveals of Junius Brutus Booth, right?
Oh, that was crazy.
So good.
I do forget about that.
So good. I don't. Every time I ever sit down for a story, I'm like, is it going to be that? And it's never that.
No. I'm waiting to find a story that I can put a reveal like that in. I'm
But it didn't just get you. It got all of them, including a lot of them who should have known better.
Grant says, looking at his students.
So we are going to do the Carpathia. Real quick, what do you know about the Carpathia?
The Carpathia saved the Titanic. It was like the only boat that came to get rescue, which is why Jack and Rose died, theoretically. The door was big enough. And
It's about buoyancy, but that's fine.
that's really interesting coming from someone who didn't know what a prime number was.
Really interesting from someone who should know what buoyancy is.
And I do. I still think it could have worked. They should have made the door smaller.
There's a couple more engineering things in here that I think you're going to really love.
Beautiful. There are other things you've told me about the Carpathia that I don't remember.
Right, so now I've packaged it all up into one episode for us.
Incredible. Yeah.
All right, so with that, if you don't know what the Carpathia is, just sit and listen. Hopefully you know what the Titanic is. If not, babes, what are you doing here?
That is actually your assignment now.
Do you know who else could have saved the Titanic? Jesus.
Yeah.
Someone reached out recently and they were like, I'm listening to the early episodes and you're blankety blankety blank. Jesus was so funny. And I was like, it was funny. No, I know.
To bring that
if you
back.
have vocal stems of ours that you like, bring them back because I forget how convenient of a transition
Some of
it
them,
was.
they really are good.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Girl, get your vocal stems out.
Oh. Well, damn. All right.
The RMS Carpathia, a noble ship. That's the name of this chapter.
What does RMS stand for?
Royal Majesty's Ship.
Oh, okay.
Yes, RMS.
Also, another thing I learned while I was Googling all this shit about Iran, I didn't know we had like warships named after all of the presidents.
Yeah.
That's wild.
The most non-controversial thing to name a ship usually is the president that ordered it. And then after that, all 50 states.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
This
Anyway.
is a USS Colorado.
What?
Yeah. Do you know what USS stands for?
U.S. ship.
Correct.
Are you serious? Oh, so it's stupid. Gotcha.
So RMS Titanic, RMS meaning that it does come from the United Kingdom.
Right.
The RMS Carpathia, not such a my bad. RMS Carpathia was first launched in 1902 and was intentionally designed to be forgettable. So relatable, middle child hive, rise up.
And now he's loud and on a podcast. So look where that left him.
And unapologetic. Dad. Do you know else who had a complicated relationship with his dad?
Jesus.
The Carpathia. No, Jesus, you were right. During a time where each new ship built by the large shipping lines needed to be bigger, faster, and more opulent, the Carpathia was none of those things. She was low-key, high-key, short, fat, stout, and slow, which
We love that.
was actually a huge selling point. She was not the fastest, largest, or most prestigious. She was going to be a working ship, and she was going to work for the Cunard Line. She was intentionally built modestly.
Okay.
She was going to be cruising for both pleasure, but also mainly for business. Shipping lines during the time made as much money carrying cargo back and forth as they did carrying people back and forth.
Oh.
And so another way of thinking about this is the Cunard Line, which we now associate with like pleasure cruises and whatnot,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Like
Yeah.
I took a cruise to the Bahamas and the Bahamas. Bahamas with my boo thing.
Yeah.
Great Instagram post.
Well.
Tag me in it.
Grant's like, well, now I need to go to the Bahamas
with
with
my
my
boo
boo
thing. Whereas now cruises leave and return to the exact same port.
Right.
A lot of times these cruises, almost all the time, no, they weren't.
Yeah.
They were sailing actively across the ocean. And so they would be full of cargo shipping across the ocean and then also people.
Also cargo, if you think about it sometimes.
Right. No, and you know who did think about it?
Slavers.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, but also the Cunard Line, the White Star Line, and like other shipping lanes.
Sorry, I associate human cargo with slavery.
As you should, but also
Okay.
like
I just wanted to justify it before this gets made into a fucking reel.
Well, also like the RMS Carpathia did make a lot of money in hauling humans intentionally. Like the way she was designed was to help maximize those profits too, but that's like in a couple of paragraphs, so I'm trying to avoid it for right now.
Okay.
Here's the thing the point of this paragraph.
Right.
Think of Cunard not as this like luxury brand cruise line company that you would think of today. Think of it instead as like if Amazon let poor people ride on top of the trucks.
I'm so glad they have public transit.
Like that's essentially or if like Spirit Airlines was like, no, please let us also fly your car to Europe. Like go ahead and trust us with your personhood and also thousands of pounds of meat.
Have you seen the Southwest Airlines flight that it's a specific type of plane that is big enough to fly another plane?
It's how we get space shuttles around. Have you seen those photos?
I know, but it's like, especially in the case of another plane, there was like a conversation that got out of like the air traffic controller to the pilot, and the pilot's explaining because the air traffic controller's like, "What the fuck is that?" And he's like, "No, this is what's going on. This is why it's so big." And he's like, "Couldn't they fly it over?" He's like, "I guess they could." Anyway.
We didn't have 2 pilots.
Yeah. Just nuts. I'm going to put one of these in my mouth so I shut up for a second.
You don't need to shut up for a
I'm
second,
shut
by
up
the
for
way.
a second.
I've really enjoyed
I want my treat.
I've really enjoyed your contribution so far. But these people are like, we will ship anything anywhere. And so there's like a couple of cabins reserved for first class, usually double the amount reserved for second class, and then like 90% of the ship would be designated for third class and steerage. And so you have actually a huge proportion of the ship reserved for like a really small number of passengers who are then like proportionately paying a lot for it. So it was like prestigious for these companies to be able to offer a really nice first class service. And you could also think about it like these first class passengers are going to be business people. And so it's like, I like to sail on White Star Lines. I'll use them for my shipping needs, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Cunard was in this really interesting position in the early 1900s. All these other shipping companies are creating big, fast ships to cross the ocean as quickly as possible. White Star Line, for example, being super notable for that. It could try to do that, but that's a huge financial risk. Like, for instance, if you stake your entire company on the fact that your ship is going to be the fastest, and it's only the fastest for 14 months before the next ship comes out that's even faster.
What if you report it as income?
Right, you absolutely could sink it off the coast like my sister's ex-boyfriend believed they did to the Titanic for insurance money.
about that.
I haven't ever forgotten about it.
That was shocking.
That conversation happened on a boat, by the way. That was the
know.
crazy part of that
I
whole.
would have punched a bitch.
So instead of being like, we are going to pursue the fastest, the best, the biggest, whatever, that might bankrupt us. And also, JP Morgan and Chase's company, or JP Morgan's company, International Mercantile Company or whatever, is trying to purchase us. Like, they're trying to absorb us. And we don't want that to happen. So they instead strike a different strategy, one that the other cruise line companies are not necessarily doing. They are like, we are basically going to be a pretty cargo ship company, right? So they're like, our strategy is not to be all of this, that, and the other thing. It's like, what is reliable, predictable, and kind of unsexy income, right?
What do we want the dads to want to book on?
Right. So when she was built in 1902, the RMS Carpethia didn't even have a designated first class. Only the accommodations that you would expect to find in second and third classes. During her initial design, she would be updated several times, but during her initial design, she is established to fit 1,700 passengers, almost all of whom would be third class passengers, and then, quote, large quantities of frozen meat. Hilarious.
That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah. And actually,
you know what?
One of the reasons why is because the RMS Carpathia would be one of the first to have an internal air system. For
so
both
they could have
hot
like a
and cold
fridge
air.
area.
Kind of. I think their system was able to like keep things refrigerated for a lot longer than a lot of other places because they intentionally built like a ventilation system into it.
And now that means they can serve a shrimp cocktail.
Thank God.
God, what would we do without it?
I want nothing more than to be somewhere on the ocean where shrimp do not naturally live.
And eating a shrimp cocktail. 100%.
Me, anytime I'm in Florida, I'm like, I need salmon. Bitch, there's no salmon anywhere near close to Florida. Why am I so desperate to have salmon?
I don't think my parents really realized because they were like, we'll be by the ocean. Sushi will be easier to find. It is not.
That plane landed in Denver and then took off again for Orlando.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The sooner you realize ocean does not mean
all
salmon.
Fish.
Thank you. And it's the most Nebraska, Colorado, like middle of the country thing possible.
Yeah. I think I ordered like a rainbow trout at some point when I was in Connecticut, and my parents were like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. Why would you ask for it? Do you want some mahi-mahi too, you stupid slut? You fancy fish order. Shut up and have the shrimp cocktail.
Well.
So anyways, the RMS Carpathia, she doesn't even have a first class section. She's there. She's designed intentionally for the poors. like specifically to shuttle immigrants from Europe to the Americas and then produced goods from the Americas back to Europe.
I'm picturing a bunch of Leo DiCaprios. So.
Yeah, as you should. But here's the thing. Like, so these immigrants had more than one option when it came to like what boat to go on, and you'd hear from your relatives. And the Carpathia quickly gained a reputation for her modesty that third-class passengers specifically really appreciated with.
Yeah, because they didn't feel like looked down on by anyone.
So that-ish, but unfortunately, no, not really.
Oh, okay.
The actual design of the ship itself was super comfortable for third-class passengers. So because she was shorter and wider than a lot of ships at the time,
relate to that.
Who doesn't?
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
Listen, this is not the time. This administration is not the time to be cutting calories, friends. Stock up.
Says the bear.
I want to throw away extra winter coats right now if I was you. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay.
Whew.
So, anyways, because she was shorter and also fatter than a lot of ships at her time.
Yes.
She actually handled the rough seas really well. Like she had like much more stability to her.
Right.
Because she was not built for speed and cruised along at a maximum speed of 14 knots. For comparison, Titanic's operational top speed was 24 knots.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So like legitimately like significantly slower.
Yeah.
But because she wasn't trying to bust out, she didn't vibrate. She didn't vibrate the way a lot of these steel ships. So it's like the process itself is smooth. She doesn't get bucked around as much, right? But then internally, Cunard had also done a lot to make the living experience for the third class passengers more enjoyable because they knew that was their target audience.
How does the pricing of this ship apply in comparison to other lines third class?
Right. Great question. It's highly competitive.
Oh, okay.
Because the other lines third classes are an afterthought. So they fit fewer of them on there.
Oh, okay.
And like first class didn't always make as much money as your third class did when it came down to like services offered, staff needed to be hired, things like that. So this is actually a really profitable strategy for the Cunard line, specifically to help avoid acquisition from JP Morgan. The third class had a designated men's smoking lounge and a women's ladies room, which was otherwise unheard of in third class quarters.
Okay.
Its dining hall could fit 300 people at once, which was also like massive for the third class at the time. And then most importantly, it would use steam from its boiler room to help heat the air going into the bottom of the ship during the winter. And it would run air through large tanks full of cold ocean water during the summer to provide early versions of air conditioning.
Yeah.
So the accommodations for third class were known to be a little bit bigger. They were known to have more luxuries than they would otherwise expect. They were known to be more comfortable because of the air, because of the like speed and vibration and the like way it wasn't getting tossed around. And also like the ship itself was pretty. Like just because it was designed to hold like a bunch of frozen meat down below doesn't mean there wasn't.
Did forget about that.
I can't. I cannot. I'm just like, if you don't know that's what you're walking into, so much of it had to be on hooks. Like how horrifying would it be to be like, oh my God.
Yeah, imagine if you didn't know. Imagine if you're a kid playing hide and seek and you stumble into there.
And then now imagine being a fish on the outside of the ship and at the same exact like altitude level, hanging beef carcass. Yes. And that's kind of funny too, you know? Like this world's full of oddities, you know?
I hate it so much.
Imagine being a barnacle and on the other side of the ship is like hamburger.
Yeah. He thought it was Moco Loco the coffee.
And so you just ask such good questions and I get caught up in what I have learned and then I have to go back and check my notes.
I love doing this. I love when Grant knows a lot about a topic and he can just kind of riff.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, great. Third class accommodations on the Carpathia were extraordinarily generous. There was a saloon. There was a smoking section, a ladies' room. They had a dining saloon on the upper deck, a covered promenade that third-class passengers could access. Covered promenade instead of just like an exposed area on the front or back of the boat. It would be along the side, and like slightly covered means that you weren't in the wind or the sun necessarily.
all the time.
Or like in the rain, you could still be outside to get some like fresh air. It had fine oak finishes and things like that. She set sail in 1902. She shakes a lot less than her sister, the Lusitania, which you know because the sinking of the Lusitania brings in America into World War I. And so she has all these like famous kind of sister ships. And then in 1905, the Hungarian government is like, we would like to contract with you for this boat specifically to sail to one of our ports and funnel Hungarian immigrants over to the United States.
And that's the Lusitania?
No, this is the Carpathia.
The Carpathia. Okay.
So the Carpathia's winter routes was the Mediterranean to New York. And then its summer routes was New York to London.
Oh, okay.
And so when the Titanic happens, it's doing one of its final runs to the Mediterranean because it happens in April before they're going to start switching over to London. But the reason why they avoid it is largely because of the ice fields that exist
Because
at
they
the
were
time.
like, ice field shouldn't go through there.
Dead ahead, right.
Yeah.
Instead, they're like sailing to the Mediterranean, which takes them a little bit further south.
Right.
And so in 1905, it gets retrofitted again. It now gets a now gets a first class. It also increases the size of its third class passengers to. Beforehand, the ship could fit in total 1,700 passengers.
Yeah.
After the renovation happens, it can fit 2,200 third-class passengers alone.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you add basically another 200 second-class and 100 first-class passengers.
Which is how that should be structured, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But like you want to make equal profits out of all of them.
Yeah.
But they do it by basically eliminating private cabins for third class and making it more dormitory style, which for third class passengers, it was not unusual. And it was even written at the time that like it was still actually like really nice and accommodating for what that situation. Yeah. And the word on the street is that the Carpathia was like the ship to go on. Like you would purchase a ticket on the Carpathia because you'd heard good things about it.
Okay, cool. Okay, really very quick.
Yes.
I always mix up the Lusitania and the Maine. When did the Maine happen?
An incredible question. Really good. Sorry, I'm not trying to be sarcastic. That's like a
I'm
very
like,
good
that's
question.
either because it's a good question or like the stupidest question he's ever heard.
Maine happened, like late 1800s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was way earlier.
Here's something that might help you
Right.
remember it. The sinking of the Maine leads to the war with Spain.
Right, because we're blaming the Maine on Spain.
Correct. Very good. Which means a young Theodore Roosevelt is going to go fight the Spanish in Cuba. And he
Gotcha.
does that before he's
Before he's president. Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, of course,
I needed
absolutely.
that.
So all
Learning
of this
so
is to
much
say,
today.
because it gets renovated in 1905 to help serve the Hungarians, to like help Hungarians immigrate to America, it is usually packed with people on its Europe to America voyage,
Right.
but then is comparatively empty
Oh.
on its America to Europe voyage. This is a ship designed to funnel immigrants across.
Yeah, not
and immigration's,
for people on vacations.
Yeah. So immigration's really kind of only going one way. Now on like the most famous trip the Carpathia ever took on, it's going to have only like 550 paying passengers
Because it's coming the opposite way.
Correct. It's going America to Europe.
So we were all very lucky that
It was basically empty.
empty.
Yeah. I mean, that was helpful for sure in
What?
part. There's like very few people even on this boat. There's a couple of like somewhat famous people, like some photographers, some like modernist painters. The daughter of the governor of Rhode Island is on it on her honeymoon trying to get to Europe.
Oh.
That's how like unimportant the people on the Carpathia are during this. Because like it's not the nicest, it's not the fastest. It's like a solid ship. You're gonna
It's
have
the
like a
Ron
nice
Swanson of boats.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Say, what does that mean to you though?
Parks and Rec.
No, I know.
Ron Swanson.
Right. What qualities does he have that he
He's-
shares with the Carpathia?
He would only use the Carpathia. He's not paying any extra for any additional comforts. He's getting the best he can with what he's willing to pay, and it's quality.
Fantastic.
And he's loyal as shit.
An analogy I would have never conjured up on my own.
I've been thinking about it for the last 10 minutes.
So that's the ship in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Carpathia departed from New York City on April 11th, 1912, bound for Austria-Hungary, which is now the city of Fiume, which is now the city of Rijeka. So it's like probably like Rijeka in Croatia, modern day Croatia, very close to Italy. At the moment on the ship, there were about 240 crew members, of which a quarter of them were Croatian sailors. She had 128 passengers in first class, 50 in second, and only 565 passengers in third class.
So it's like maybe halfway, if that. Yeah.
Like first class and second class might be over halfway full-ish, but third class is
not,
only like a quarter of full.
Yeah.
We are now up to the night of the sinking, like the big thing that she is famous for. On the night of the 14th of April, Carpathia's wireless operator. Do you know what a wireless is?
Maybe, but explain it to me.
It's like
Yes, yeah.
right.
What is telegram?
Yes, but it's coming
wireless
specifically
now, right.
through like the airwaves or
Right,
whatever.
right.
It's a brand new feature on boats. And these boats are hiring wireless operators in the same way cruise ships today hire like theater majors.
It's so true, you guys. I've had at least 3 friends that did circus in high school that have worked at least one route on a circus boat
And
or
let
on
me-
a cruise boat.
Let me make sure this is clear too. Theater majors that get hired on cruise ships, awesome, amazing, but they are there to entertain the passengers.
Yes, not crucial to the function of
Correct.
the ship.
That is actually almost word for word the definition of what wireless operators are on these boats during this time. And then we're going to get to that in a second. And I think this actually is like a really interesting part of Titanic that people don't like really fully understand. The wireless was super new. The wireless being able to like reach across the Atlantic and like connect all these boats together, also super new.
Yeah.
We take for granted now that we could talk to anybody anywhere at any time. But for the majority of human history, if you were on a boat in the ocean and needed help, you better hope you can see another boat.
Yeah.
Because if they cannot visually see you
or a flare. Or
right,
whatever, yeah.
they can't connect with you. There's nothing you can do. So be a strong swimmer and know what direction shore is.
And find a big enough door for both of you.
Yes, absolutely. Or at least a volleyball that you can name Wilson.
Interesting.
And so we just assume that like they're going to be able to connect with each other. The people in 1912 would not have assumed that they could get a hold of other boats around
Right.
them. That is not an assumption that many people who'd made their careers in sailing would have.
instinctually.
Right. Most of the people who are captains of these steamships started their career crossing the Atlantic Ocean on sails.
It's just I don't understand how
How quickly it all changed.
it's just people could just be doing crimes like all the time. There was no surveillance, there was no communication, there was no logs of things. Like, it also, like, sometimes I'm like, that's crazy that sailors would have, there is like the stereotype of them having like a wife at every port.
Yeah.
But that's so realistic.
Or a husband.
Yeah.
Here's something that's crazy to me. One of the Carpathia's claim to fame, one of its famous passengers, in 1916, the Carpathia will carry a 16-year-old U.S. soldier to Europe to help fight in the First World War. That man will be the last survivor. Good for you. Nice. That man will be the last surviving veteran, American veteran of World War I,
Whoa.
and he will die in 2011.
Whoa. Did you see the last survivor of Auschwitz just passed?
I did not.
She was like 96.
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
So the night of April 14th, 1912, the Carpathia is cruising along. Its wireless operator, 21-year-old Harold Cottam, had been missing some messages from the Titanic, which strikes an iceberg roughly around 11:40 a.m.
Okay.
He had a shift he had to do.
It was during the day?
No, at night. 11. Did I say a.m.?
Yeah, you
Sorry,
said
PM.
a.m. I was like
11:40 p.m. Like dead of night.
Okay.
It is actually like a crystal clear night with very little wind, which is really bad if you are on the lookout for icebergs. Because wind would push water up onto the sides of icebergs.
Oh, and make like sounds, and then you could see
make
like
sounds, but also it would create like a
yeah.
white like wave as it like crusted back on itself, and that would show you the outline of the iceberg way off in the distance, and you could avoid it. But without wind, it makes it a lot harder to see icebergs because there's nothing pushing up against it to create like that almost like visual static around it. So Harold, what's his last name? Cottam is on the bridge actively like looking for icebergs and stuff.
Okay.
His shift ends at midnight and he decides, because he's not yet tired yet, to go to the wireless room and see what's on the wireless. Because the thing about the wireless at the time is that it's essentially like AOL Instant Messenger. Like it's early days internet stuff.
Right, yeah.
The people who are on it are weirdos. They're tech dudes. They're people who are excited about this.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Right? Like Harold Cottam is a officer on board or like a crew member on board the Carpethia. He has a day job and it's not necessarily
the
wireless.
Yeah.
No one's requiring the Carpethia to man its wireless 24/7.
Right.
No one's actually requiring the Carpethia to manage its wireless at all. And then here's the other really weird thing about wireless. Wireless at the time works as like one-on-one communication between
So it's not
people.
like radio that you're like all tuned into one channel.
No, it's not. It's like receive a message, send a message, receive a message, send a message.
But you have to know like an address or something for
Kind of, a little bit. You can kind of pick up frequencies as I understand it. Obviously, I'm not a goddamn wireless expert. But
where's Casey when you need him?
But Harold Cottam, Cottam,
Cottam, yeah.
Harold Cottam receives a message from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And the wireless station in Cape Cod, Massachusetts is essentially saying, hey, any ships out there, could you let Titanic know we have a private message for them, for one of the passengers on board, and they need to wire us so that way they can get the message. And so Cottam is like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
let me contact Titanic.
Right. I'll just be like, hey, Titanic, just so you know, Cape Cod has a message for you. You might want to reach out to them. Mm-hmm. Titanic's response is, we have struck an iceberg. We are sinking. We need you here instantly. So you talk to me about your Slack channel at work.
That's what Casey did right now. Casey had to go back to work and it's at like 7 p.m. tonight.
Yeah.
That's like, what do you, I would panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's important to note too, and I'll talk about this more if I ever do a Titanic episode, the Titanic became known as the unsinkable ship after she sank in a part of like beautiful editorializing.
Really?
Yeah. She was known as a very safe ship. No one called her unsinkable until after that girl sank.
Didn't the creator, one of the designers, say right before it took off that ship is unsinkable?
Sure, but like White Star,
God can't.
Sure, but White Star didn't like advertise that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Titanic responds back to Harold Cottam, we are sinking. We need help right away. And to his credit, Cottam immediately jumps into action. Titanic hit an iceberg at 11:40 p.m. At 11:40 p.m. Harold Cottam's shift ends on the bridge at midnight. At midnight, at 12:11 a.m., okay, so now 31 minutes after the Titanic has hit an iceberg, he is receiving a message from the Titanic saying, we need your help. He immediately takes the messages and writes down the coordinates for the Titanic. They're like latitude, longitude. Here we are. Like, get here as soon as possible. And he runs to the bridge where there are officers on duty, just like keeping the ship going and whatever. And he's like, we got a very serious distress call from the Titanic. We need to turn right now and go help them. There. And these officers are like, no, what are you talking about? But also, remember, wireless is like,
oh, so they haven't, like, they're not thinking that he's heard an actual thing. Okay.
Before this moment, wireless was largely used to update businessmen on how their
Their
stocks were
things
doing.
were going. Yep.
You might occasionally receive like race results or like sports game scores or things like that. Or if like a famous person dies.
It's how that like things like The Wire happen.
Yeah.
Get it?
If you've ever had to pay like $15 for 30 minutes of internet at a hotel, like that's essentially what wireless is. It's this like luxury they are providing. So this guy who is basically like in an AOL chat room comes barging into the deck of the Carpathia and is like, we need to get the captain awake right now. The Titanic is sinking. And the officers are like,
what the hell are you talking about?
We're not going to do that. So Harold Cottam runs past them, runs down the ladder, and wakes up his captain.
Good for him.
No, absolutely. Cottam rushed down the ladder to the captain's cabin and awakened Captain Arthur Henry Rostron, 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 who briefly scolded Cottam for waking him up as like an inferior officer.
Same.
But once he learned about the seriousness of the message, immediately sprang into action and gave the order to turn the ship around. He then asked Harold Cottam if he was absolutely certain it was a distress signal from the Titanic. Cottam said that he had indeed received a distress signal from the Titanic, which required immediate assistance, and Cottam gave Titanic's position, saying that he was absolutely certain of the seriousness of the message. Captain Rostron, while dressing to leave his room, orders several things at once. First, he orders the Carpathia to be turned in the direction of the Titanic. He then sends his chief engineer to, quote, call in another watch of stokers and make all possible speed to the Titanic as she is in trouble. Rostron later testified that the distance to the Titanic was 52.22 miles and that it took the Carpathia less than 3.5 hours to reach the Titanic's location, by which point she had already sunk. That's the part of the story that we know.
Okay.
What you don't know is that based off of what the Carpathia had been designed to do, it should have took her over 4 hours to reach the Titanic. And also, what's so impressive about Rostron's decisions is the heart of this episode.
Right.
First, he gets this strange message from an inferior officer from a brand new piece of technology who's like, the Titanic is in danger and we need to go help. They are not close to the Titanic. If this boat is sinking, like, they're not going to get there in time. They're going to try, they're going to hope, but they're like not going to get there in time.
They're hoping for survivors.
Right. It's also middle of the night and they are about to sail to a ship that has just been hit by an iceberg that has to be close by.
Yeah.
Like the danger persists, like the danger continues to persist for boats in that area.
Right.
What was really interesting about cruise ships at the time is lifeboats were not designed to hold all of the passengers. Lifeboats were designed to help channel the passengers from the sinking ship to the ship that was not sinking.
Yeah.
So to do all this effort for a ship that you understand will almost certainly be sunk by the time you get there is a true testament to like every life has value and we need to try to go save as many people
who is still alive
as possible. The RMS California, not a U.S. ship, a British one, exact position at the time is controversial. The Californian is the only ship to have testimony that they saw the Titanic's distress flares go up at night.
And they didn't do anything?
They believed the captain was throwing a party on Titanic's maiden voyage, and its wireless operator, seen as it was past midnight, had already gone to sleep for the evening. So no one thought to check in, and it sailed away as the California sank. That is super controversial.
That's a wild legacy to have.
It's a wild legacy to have. It's also complicated because there is some belief that the California was still actually so far away that if it had turned around in that moment and set sailed for the Titanic, it wouldn't have gotten there before the ship went down. And the only thing that would have changed is it would have played the role the Carpathia played in the whole rescue. The British government in 1992 reached that conclusion. They were like, we don't understand why the California didn't turn around, but we don't think it would have made a huge difference. I think they were like, ultimately, it would not have impacted the death toll, which is also complicated.
Yeah, because, I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, by the time the Carpathia rescued everyone they believed to be alive, were they full? Were they like at capacity?
The Carpathia?
Yeah.
when it rescued these people?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
The Carpathia, when it steamed towards the Titanic, had the capacity that it could have fit all of the passengers on the Titanic.
Okay. I didn't realize that scope. Okay.
There's like roughly 700 passengers on the Carpathia at that moment, which means there's a space for an additional like 1,800 people.
Okay.
And that's at like normal housing quarters.
Then yeah, I kind of agree.
All of Carpathia's lifeboats were swung out at the ready for deployment. Oil was set up along the side of the ship in case the sea turned choppy. You can pour oil off the side of the ship and it'll calm the water next to the ship, which makes loading and offloading lifeboats a lot easier.
Oh, wow. I love science.
I thought you would. I thought that was so cool.
That's so cool.
They hung up lights and turned on some of the lights along the side of the boat so that way it was easier to see, and had nets and ladders rigged along her sides ready to be dropped when they arrived in order to try to let as many survivors as possible climb aboard at once.
Wow.
And what's really special about this is that this water is below the temperature of freezing and has not frozen because of the salt content of the ocean. Mm-hmm. It's freezing cold. And the person, Captain Rostron, who's in charge of this boat, has been a captain for 30 years. He understands how little time you have if you're in the water to like
before you die of hypothermia.
And so it's this inspiring, I think, combination of like a man who's sailing his boat as quickly as possible to the scene of a crash, knowing there's not going to be a lot of survivors, but also knowing that if there are survivors, any minute is going to be valuable, and that what they could do right now is to be as ready as possible to get as many of them as possible as quickly as possible.
See,
on board.
I don't know everything about this man, but we say all men. That's an example of not all men.
Fully agreed. The captain had the Carpathia's 3 dining rooms, all assigned by class, converted into immediate triage and hospital centers. Each had a doctor assigned to it. The doctor on board was assigned to first class. His assistant surgeon was assigned to the second class. And I think a third class passenger with medical training was assigned to the third class.
I mean, good for that guy or gal.
They prepared hot soup, coffee, tea. They collected blankets. They collected coats and other things from passengers on board and set them all up in the dining room. By this time, many of the passengers had started to waken up, and all of them stepped up to help.
Oh.
Many donating whatever they had.
Yeah.
One report said that nearly every man in the first and second class cabins fully gave up their rooms so that way they would be empty when passengers came aboard, that they would like sleep in the hallways.
Wow.
And first and second class ladies all started to double up their rooms to free up
free up rooms for
as
other
ladies.
people,
they're not going to sleep in the hallway, but they were putting like a lot of ladies.
They were doing what they could.
The true miracle, however, was the speed at which the Carpathia was able to reach in her mad dash to try to save the Titanic. She was sea tested at a top speed of 14 knots. That was her push speed.
Yeah,
that was
not the speed she operated at.
Correct. Not the speed that you should always maintain at, but like if you need to get some speed to get out of a storm or something,
the
14
top speed
knots.
that was rated as safe.
Correct. Captain Rostron needed his ship to go faster, which meant he needed more steam.
Right.
Captain Rostron ordered all of the steam to be saved for the boilers and the limited prep work that was being done in the dining rooms. So he turned off hot water for the entire ship. Yep. He turned off the complicated heating system in the dead of night in the freezing cold North Atlantic, surrounded by water that's below 32 degrees. Mm-hmm. He turns off all the heat except for the boilers. In order to get even more steam to go into the boilers to get the engines to go faster, he has his engineers close the safety valves that were designed to go off
Release the pressure.
Correct. Mm-hmm. By tying the safety valves close, you are able to force steam that would otherwise be pushed out through the system.
In a world of OSHA violations.
Correct. Because it also makes the ship go faster by risking a giant boiler explosion.
Yes. I'm working with several steam boilers right now.
I thought you would really appreciate some of these engineering facts. I so rarely give you anything about this.
It's beautiful.
Putting this story together, I was like, I'm super impressed, and I think Maya's going to love this. I did deep dives into a couple of sources to try to get you some of this stuff.
Of course they closed the pressure valves. Of course they did. And also, I feel like I shouldn't be knowing that.
Yeah. There was another one. You're risking, the quote. They managed to force the Carpathia to hit 17 and a half knots.
Holy shit.
When its top speed
Was
is 14 knots.
Damn.
The damage that will ultimately do to the engine means that the Carpathia will never reach its top speed of 14 knots
Ever again
after this night.
Oh, why is they deserved more time?
Wait for me. And it's a slideshow of these facts going across your screen.
The emotional damage of that song has really fucked me up.
Captain Rostron knew he was taking a risk pushing his ship that fast. By 2:45 a.m., roughly 2.5 hours after they first received the distress call, the Carpathia reached the ice field that sunk the Titanic. It would then take them another 45 minutes to begin to approach the last known location of the Titanic. And by 4 a.m., was finally taking passengers on board.
Oh my gosh.
The Carpathia, doing everything it could, counted dozens of icebergs that towered over 200 feet tall as they passed through this ice field. The Carpathia's entire length of the boat was 500 feet long.
Oh, Jesus.
So these are
that's a huge.
Right. These icebergs, some of them might actually tower over the ship at their like top, like their peakest peak.
Yeah.
Their peakest peak. The Carpathia.
Masters in communication.
Absolutely. My full-time job, peakest peak. The Carpathia got to the ice field at 17 knots, and for most reports, looks like continued to churn at basically that speed.
Wow.
With everyone on watch, dodging things. Ice is scraping along the hull, but it's like small drifters. It's considered highly dangerous, and they have everyone on board. By comparison, they're going 17 knots. By comparison, the Titanic was doing business as usual, zipping through this field at 23 knots when she struck the iceberg. So it was reckless.
I can't respect it because I know it was men that made that decision. You know, that's
exclusively men. Joseph Zuprik, a Croatian steward on board, recalled the captain meeting with the crew and saying, "We are in danger. I am risking your lives. The Titanic is in trouble and is sinking, and we need to go help her."
Yeah.
And so no one is under the illusion that what they're doing is like safe.
Yeah.
And this crew, seasoned sailors, know the ship will be gone when they get there.
Yeah.
There's so much tragedy aboard the Titanic and so much heroism, which I probably will cover at one point. Who knows?
He's going to cover it.
4th year anniversary. Who knows? But the act of the Carpathia is like insane bravery when you know the reward is going to be so minimal. Harold Cottam, meanwhile, messaged the Titanic that the Carpathia was coming as quickly as possible, and they expected to reach their location within 4 hours. Cottam then refrained from sending too many more communications to try to keep the network for the Titanic open.
Okay.
He would occasionally send updates as to how close they were. But the Titanic needed to continue to send out distress calls.
Right.
The Olympic, which is Titanic's sister ship,
right?
At
the
one
Olympic
point,
or the Olympia?
I think maybe the Olympia. Sorry, I might have written that down wrong.
I don't. That just sounds right to me, but I could be wrong.
It'll be elsewhere in these notes. 1 second. No, it's the Olympic. Woo, got it right. Okay, great.
Good for you.
The Olympic at one point said, "We are lighting up all boilers and we'll get there as fast as we can." Another ship, which was over 200 miles away, asked, "What is the matter with you?" to Titanic because of its distress calls. And Titanic responded, "You fool, keep out." In other words, you're so far away, do not bother us right now. We are trying to talk to other people. The last recorded message from the Titanic came just 3 minutes before 2:30 a.m. The last message the Titanic sent out: "Come quick, engine room nearly full."
Oof, chills.
Chills, sad. By the time that message is sent out, tracking the sinking of the Titanic, the majority of the boiler room is fully underwater by that point. Yeah. And so any power that's still coming from the boiler room, this is kind of controversial. I can't wait to get into it when I do more of my history research on the Titanic. Either two things were happening. Like the boilers had produced enough steam to like keep some form of like engine operation going on.
Right.
Or what is considered more likely, the watertight doors had shut the people who were working on the engines trapped inside alive.
Oh, God.
And they continued to operate the engines to give the ship power for as long as possible before the pressure of the water crushed them.
See, I feel like we don't have people who would do that today. I feel like that died after the Great Depression.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I certainly know that's not how I want to go out. That's
No,
not
but
how
like
I want to go out.
you see your imminent death in front of you,
And
and
you just, like,
maybe
keep
this is
working.
the Depression talking. But they're like, we're going to do everything we can to give everyone else the best shot possible.
As like much time as possible.
That's just so...
Because
I
when
love that.
the Titanic first strikes the iceberg, one of the first things they would do to try to save the ship is close the watertight doors, which will trap you in the section of the ship that you are in when they get shut.
Right.
And so, absolutely heroic. And also, like, it's not like they chose that over saving themselves. Like, being that deep down in the ship, they might have found out that the ship was sinking because the doors shut on them, not because they saw water.
I'm sorry. I can't stop thinking about the kinds of jellyfish that could have snuck into the ship.
I should have known with an episode that features the ocean so prominently that you would just not know how to act right.
After watching the Titanic when we got a little toasted and ate dinner, I that imagery the first few times I saw it, I was not scared of oceans yet. Jesus.
Am I good to continue?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep.
The Carpathia arrived at the reported location at 4 a.m., though they would have witnessed for a while that there was no ship fighting to stay above the water. The Carpathia arrived only 90 minutes after the Titanic officially slipped below the waves.
Ugh.
Approximately 5 Titanic passengers passed away on lifeboats after being pulled aboard the Carpathia or while waiting on the boats. A number that could have been much higher if the rescue took any longer. Because for at least 2 of the collapsibles, they were partially submerged. So it was people who were only able to keep the majority of their body out of the water, not all of it. Here is one photo of one of the collapsibles that was not submerged. Those are canvas sides. That's what made them collapsible.
Yeah,
Yep.
but notoriously not buoyant.
And you can also tell that this was one of the last ones filled because unlike the first lifeboats that were filled, this one's
packed actually
full.
Yeah.
When the Titanic officially fell silent, the chasing ships carried on calling out for news, coordinating the rescue for the survivors. The wireless between these ships became the only way to talk to each other and also the only way for survivors to contact their families. You get some initial telegram messages or wireless messages from families afterwards. Obviously, these boats get flooded with messages from loved ones on shore, but also messages the other way around, which can give only the briefest amount of information because these messages charge per word.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Meet me, Doc, with $200. Underwear, cap, big coat. Am well, but slightly frozen, said one person from the Carpathia.
It sounds like a text Casey would send.
Sounds like your hungover friend at 7 in the morning who needs you to go get them.
Sounds like something I would say. Yeah.
Another one, completely destitute, no clothes. And then finally a third one, which managed to master brevity. Safe, Bert.
The important things are there. This is the Facebook, like, check in with your friends.
Marked safe
from.
At the heart of this all would continue to be a 21-year-old Harold Cottam, who, because he was the wireless operator who had originally received the message, he was now also the wireless operator on the Carpathia, responsible for messaging out information to the outside world. He had been instructed by his captain of a Cunard ship specifically, that the only person he was allowed to communicate with was the White Star Line ship Olympic, which was steaming towards them as fast as possible.
Right.
The captain's philosophy was, we will give White Star Line all of the information that we have, and from there, they will communicate what they need to with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Joining him, though, because that's a lot of information. I mean, 705 passengers were pulled from the ocean from the Titanic disaster, which was by 5 people more than the number of people who were originally guests on the Carpathia.
Right.
One of the
Holy
people
shit.
pulled is Harold Bride, a lot of Harolds at this time, who was the junior wireless attendant of the Titanic,
Okay.
whose friend and boss went down with the ship.
Oh.
Harold helped take over wireless duties from Harold Cottam, so that way they could get more information out. And Harold would go together to the Titanic testimonies and investigation trials afterwards. Here's a photo of the 2 men. You can tell which one was on the Titanic.
The one that looks a lot more upset.
This one, who needs to elevate his feet and is still wrapped in bandages.
Oh, he
and
is still
things.
wrapped in bandages. I missed that.
And you see this photo.
He looks gaunt. He looks like he looks like he's haunting.
He's 21 years old.
Holy shit.
Imagine being a
Right.
21-year-old and hey, we're this massive ship and we're sinking and we need your help. And you're the first person to get that information. I actually think it's scarier that you're the person that gets the information first. If he was just on board and his captain was like, wake up, we need you to start wiring New York, Titanic is sinking. That's scary.
different.
But
Yeah.
to be the person that gets the information
Yeah.
first, there's this level of ownership, I think, over that
That's
more.
me seeing Danny get into Grant's car with the laptop.
I, too, could imagine what Harold Cottam is feeling.
I could have saved the Olympic. The Titanic.
Now, the Carpathia also has somewhat of an issue. Not an issue, but just a tough situation. Where do they go?
Right.
Because-
Because they were bound for London,
No, they were bound.
the Mediterranean.
Correct.
And then the Titanic was bound for New York.
Correct.
Right.
So they have a couple of options. They could just keep going all the way to Austria-Hungary. They could stop in the Azores and drop them off there.
Where's
which
the Azores?
It's an island in the Atlantic, but kind of close to Portugal. I'm just going to show you. Why am I trying to describe this with words? Oh, because it's an audio platform. It's
He got there, y'all.
It's close to Portugal, but she definitely in the ocean. So,
Ooh, I don't like how much ocean is on that. It's a map of the world.
So the Azores was no one's destination.
Okay, yeah.
But is on their way to their destination.
But isn't all the way.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And so the Azores would have been the cheapest option.
Right.
Taking them all the way to their final destination
Austria.
was an option. They are convinced to turn around and go back to New York.
By who?
Ismay, the chief executive of White Star Line, who coincidentally happens to survive the sinking of the Titanic and is now a passenger on
Right.
board the Carpathia, and is like, I know it's not on your way, but could you drop us off on the way home? That would be so great. The Carpathia chooses to do that, which was the right thing to do. These people
Yes.
were traumatized.
Yeah.
And whatever their life situation was, they had planned to be in New York next. And so it's let's get there and drop you off and
Yeah.
It's
the poor people who were going to Austria.
I know. Well, most of them were third class, so it's fine.
The first class are like, don't you love an adventure?
Yes. But here's the thing. Captain Rostron has to be like, hey, people are starting to bribe us for information. You can't take money to send out this information.
Right.
But other passengers can definitely send information out in their messages and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
okay.
And at one point, Harold Cottam is investigated for if his actions after the sinking were inappropriate or not. And it's let that man get his bag.
That does not fucking matter in the scope of this, y'all. At some point, you need to let it go.
We have a couple of photos. Okay, so 2 things. First, here is the Carpathia in size comparison
Holy
to the
shit.
Titanic.
And
Yeah.
it's crazy that this boat carried more than the Titanic did.
Yeah, largely carries
It's
the exact
literally
same number of people.
almost half the length.
I'd
a little
actually say
over half
almost-
the length.
I think it's a third of the size though, because it's also
Yeah,
so
because
much
it's also
shorter.
shorter. Yeah, but I guess she was fat, right?
She's a little busty, but not that busty.
I know she's not nearly as tall. That's wild.
Yeah, and then here is one. it just looks like people who are cold, but it means a lot because these faces saw the Titanic sink. Here are the Titanic survivors on the deck of the Carpathia.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's tough. This woman, however, does just kind of look annoyed.
Yeah, well, she's sitting outside in the North Atlantic, so
Yeah.
I get that 100%. I think there's maybe a chance that might have been one of the original passengers of the Carpathia.
Oh, and then she's actually annoyed.
But part of me also, not to
Wow.
sensationalize tragedy, although the Titanic is the second best grossing movie of all time, so who am I to sensationalize it anyways?
Yeah.
But it's the passengers on board the Titanic lived in a time before universal radio and way before internet and television.
Right.
This had to be the most exciting thing that happened to some of them in their entire lives.
This would be a
tragic
crazy,
for sure.
2 truths and a lie.
Right. Tragic 100%. 8 for sure.
Yeah.
Because they do pull up to a pretty grisly scene of literally hundreds of bodies floating in the ocean.
Yeah.
That maybe only the men needed to see if
They
you
didn't want to.
Right.
or
Right.
whatever.
But also at the same time, yes, I was there when the Titanic sank. I was on board the Carpathia. You're eating for free in that story for a really long time.
And as you should.
In fact, the Carpathia sees a spike in people purchasing tickets on her specifically.
Because they're like, this boat would go and save people.
And it's not only is it this boat would go and save people, but this boat is affiliated with the Titanic because the Titanic
and I want
becomes
to do
famous.
anything, to touch it.
The Titanic becomes famous the second it sinks. People were Titanic freaks then as they are now. They were fascinated by the majesty, by the beauty of it, by the tragedy of it all.
It draws you in. It was their modern day true crime.
Correct. One of the Croat sailors, while helping passengers onto the boat, kind of sneaks one of the Titanic life vests into his suitcase.
Oh, that was a whole life of that. He could auction that off for so much.
Yeah, he gave it to the National Naval Museum in Croatia, and I think to this day is the only surviving Titanic life vest in Europe.
I don't know if
There's 13 in America and one in Europe.
I don't know if I admire or really dislike that he was able to think of that in that
The
moment.
trophy finding?
Yeah. It's admirable, and I don't know what my brain would do in that situation. But how? How does your brain get there?
I think part of me is you are now part of that tragedy. And as long as you're not stealing it from someone or ripping it off of a dead body, which feels so gross. I'm sure at one point the Carpathia just had a pile of them on the deck somewhere.
Yeah.
That because those are not things you can use twice. They don't dry out. Once it's
and
been
I'm sure
soaked with water.
some people definitely did not want to keep them because it reminded them of the worst thing they've ever gone through.
I mean, I kind of get it.
I don't know.
Maybe a little gross, but I kind of get it.
I'm a pack rat. I keep everything I touch.
Which is maybe the most beautiful thing you could be. It's almost better if it's garbage.
Caleb Heron, the special Watch It on HBO. Thank us later.
All right. So after the sinking, no one would have asked this of them. The passengers of the Carpathia, it wasn't expected. They were almost 60 miles away with icebergs in their path. They had a responsibility to respond. They did not have a responsibility to do what no one thought they could do or to do it so dangerously. But they did.
Right.
They chose to risk their lives. They chose to a literal all hands on deck moment for this beautiful idea of there's a person out there in the ocean right now that needs our help, and our arrival could save them. And we are duty bound as humans to make that happen as much as possible. The fact that this ship was built almost entirely to carry immigrants, I think fits into this narrative in a way that's beautiful and hard to ignore,
Yes.
That
the immigrants were the ones that
the humanness of it all, right? That this boat was there to serve humanity. It's full of people looking for a better life, and now it needs to go save some lives. I'm not doing a great job of summarizing
I
it,
understand
but
what you mean though.
it's not first class on the Titanic. It's not a pleasure cruise to eat caviar and drink champagne on your way to go poison a river in Ohio. You are
well,
it was a boat meant to carry people to dreams and to help them start a new life, and it was needed to save them. And I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
The crew received dozens of awards and recognitions afterwards, specifically for how much time they had managed to make up.
Yeah.
Cunard obviously never punished the crew for permanently damaging
the
the
boat,
engines,
yeah.
right, to a certain degree. And there are some special people on this boat. There's the unsinkable Molly Brown, who gets picked up by the Carpathia.
An icon.
Correct. You did an episode on her
I think
earlier.
19, if you're interested.
Correct. And then she just like kept going on. She continued to ferry passengers across the ocean. She outlived the Lusitania, who would get sunk in 1915 and help drag the United States into World War I. And then in July of 1918, months before the end of World War I, the Carpathia itself would find itself in danger.
Oh, no.
Some 120 miles west of where the Lusitania sank, which was like right off the coast
Of where?
of England.
Okay.
Someone on board the Carpathia would spot a torpedo in the water. And much like
This is 1991?
this is 1918.
1918. I was like, Jesus Christ.
And then this 100-year-old ship got murked.
I was like,
Kill shot to the head.
I'm confused why she's still alive, but
Are you
okay.
telling me a nuclear submarine sank this steam-powered ship? That's crazy. No, 1918. I'm sorry if I said 1991.
No, it was probably just
Which
me
would
messing
actually
it up.
be George H.W. Bush's first Gulf War, timeline-wise. So
It all comes back.
it's July 1918. The Cunard Line is helping transport materials from the United Kingdom back to America and Canada back and forth as part of World War I. The German U-boat campaign, or the German submarines, are prowling the waters, desperately trying to sink ships to help hurt the like war effort for the Allies and such. Someone notices a torpedo off the side of the ship. It tries evasive maneuvers. It does not manage to escape it. It gets hit by a first torpedo. And then shortly after the second torpedo hits the engine room, kills 3 firefighters and 2 people who were there to patch the initial hit. And at that moment, the captain makes the decision to abandon ship. Now, here's something that's really interesting about the way U-boats worked at the time. U-boats would launch torpedoes at these boats. And then once it was convinced it had like disabled the boat or like it was going to sink, it wouldn't necessarily keep shooting at it, right? Like if the boat's going down, whatever.
Yeah, we can leave.
So it is like a hostile environment, but like they're able to evacuate the crew off of it. And then as they're evacuating the crew, the captain takes like the secret logbook with all like the like translation codes or whatever, throws it into the ocean. A lifeboat comes back for him and the last remaining members of the crew. They load onto a lifeboat and like the lifeboat pushes away from the Carpathia as the U-boat sends a third torpedo into it, smashes it open and sinks. Fortunately, another ship had seen her distress flares at the time because you don't want to use a wireless radio system to give away your location.
Right.
And a light cruiser called the Snowball shows up, chases away the
What the fuck is a light cruiser?
basically a fancy speedboat with some cannons on it. Is like the best way I could
Ooh.
describe it to you. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. Did you ever see Greyhound starring Tom Hanks? Okay, I bet Casey has. That was a cruiser.
Okay, cool.
Scares off the U-boat, collects the survivors of the Carpathia, but the Carpathia sinks as well.
Damn. So
and
we could also kill billionaires as they go down to
Correct.
inspect the Carpathia.
Here's something that you're not gonna like.
Oh, okay. I'm okay. What's living in there?
The Carpathia appears to have sank 600 feet below the ocean surface, settling at the bottom.
Okay. Okay.
Which,
Sorry, when you said ocean surface, I thought you meant like surface of the sand of the ocean, and I was like, why?
she's buried in there.
It's like, that's crazy.
She sank roughly from like surface of the ocean to seafloor, roughly 600 feet.
Okay.
The Carpathia, slightly over 500 feet tall, like long. So you could almost turn her upside down.
And she would kind of
stick
be
out
like
the water.
maybe poking out
Right.
a little bit.
The boat
could.
that would definitely be poking out, the Titanic.
Oh.
If you take where she sank, that distance is shorter than front to back of the Titanic.
That's wild.
Yeah, isn't that weird? And then this is actually, in my mind, the saddest thing on this entire episode.
Oh.
This is the last photo of the Carpathia.
Oh.
And it's just an inanimate object. Like, I know that.
Yeah, Yeah, but like she did good.
Someone thought to turn around and take one final photo of the boat to save the Titanic.
Oh, no.
Oh no, why am I feeling all this for a boat right now?
I hate the water. That's why am I tearing up?
Think how much frozen meat was on it. And that is what makes our podcast special.
And that is how Greenland sharks in the area survived for the next 100 years.
She was actually really hard to find because she's so close to the shore. That's why the ocean is relatively shallow.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, the Titanic, which sank in the dead of the North Atlantic, sank 12,000 feet.
Can you imagine if billionaires died trying to see the Carpathia?
Yes, I can. The Carpathia.
Sorry, it's not funny, but
it is funny. The Carpathia was found after the Titanic was found, even though the Carpathia is closer to shore and under much less water. And that's because the crazy currents and tides has like battered it so much.
When did we start looking for the Titanic?
I don't know when we started looking for it. I know James Cameron found it in like the early 90s.
Okay.
What's even crazier, you're not ready for this.
No, I'm not.
The wreckage of the Carpathia is owned by Titanic Inc. Because it's in international waters and the White Star Line doesn't exist anymore. So it's owned by like Titanic expeditions and things like that.
That's so fucked up.
Part of me was like, how is that not illegal? Like, of course it's legal, but like, how is that not illegal? Of course it's legal,
but it just, because I've personified the Carpathia so much, it does feel like colonization somehow.
Yeah, it feels bad.
It feels gross, and what the fuck do you mean the Titanic owns it?
Titanic Inc. owns it.
Inc. Oh my God.
By the way, that company's dead name. It goes by something else now.
Dead name.
But Titanic Inc. was a name at one point, and that's too good not to use.
That's before we got women in marketing. I'm actually pretty sure. Oh my God. So do people visit the Carpathia in the same way? Like someone owns it, so I feel like it has to make profit somewhere.
No, it makes no money at all. It's actually really hard to reach because of the currents down there.
Oh, okay.
And that should make us feel good about Titanic Inc. owning it.
Useless property.
Exactly.
I wonder what the bank values it at, you know? Could they put loans against it?
And report it as income?
And that's what's beautiful about our podcast, Enron and Titanic Inc.
Do you know who could reach the Carpathia, though? Jesus.
Okay, so the whole thing with Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
He said that thing about opera and ballet.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was making a comment about it, and they played the reel, and they had captions on it, and they misspelled opera as Oprah. People in the comments were like, the fuck did she do to you?
Today is the day after state, and we had kids telling stories from their rounds and stuff. And we had two debaters, and you gotta love partner events because there's no hiding your shame if it's funny in a partner event.
It's true.
So her partner stands up. It's two lovely ladies, brilliant, talented, amazing, wonderful. And they're going up against a team that's trying to argue for like the preservation of creatures, of organisms in the Arctic. And this young lady stands up and goes, Judge, the most important thing for you to understand in this round is they are not going to be able to have those orgasms.
Oh, I hope it was an old man that was judging them.
And I couldn't say it out loud, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, not the first time a debater has said that. And it's also so funny how elastic kids are, because we had another kid in a different period who did not have the state experience that they wanted. And when we were doing like story time reflections, it's kind of like community time. Like we're in the long exhale portion of the season now. This kid starts talking, and essentially the story is how they got rejected romantically by somebody at the tournament. And that was at this point only 48 hours after the tournament that they didn't do as well as they wanted at. That was tonight's top
what
story.
They were remembering.
Yeah, exactly.
You were like, you son of a bitch.
No, I was like, this is crazy because this is the 4th tournament in a row you have been rejected from. Where are you getting this confidence from?
Men will literally.
Yeah, they will. And when you find out off air who it is, you are going to really say men will literally.
Is it the one that's your trusted adult? You're the trusted adult?
No.
Oh.
Although that's funny too, for whole separate reasons.
I finally met a child Grant has told me a lot about.
All off air.
Oh, all off air, yeah. And I put together who he was before Grant had to say literally nothing indicating who this kid was. And I was like, oh, that's exactly who I was envisioning. It was beautiful.
Oh, almost died. Gotta finish chewing this gummy. Thank you, our Australian listener, by the way. The red frogs are delicious.
So good.
Not to toot my own horn, but now that you have met that child and you understand the range of children I have in my program and the special trusting relationship that I have with these very different children.
It's wild.
I am good at my job at times, you know?
No one's been saying you're not.
Go ahead and say more. I have another red frog in my mouth. Go ahead and say, go ahead and be more sensitive than that one.
Grant's good at his job.
Oh, shut up.
Grant's good at his job. Sometimes I'm watching kids in events and I'm like, well, Grant would have never let that kid do that. Just from hearing how he coaches them, I'm like, this could really benefit from a narrowing of scope. I don't think you know what you're saying right now.
That is how I really do know, like, I'm doing something, because kids will come back from judging a novice tournament, or after they graduate, they'll come back and judge like a regular season, and they'll go like, I hear your voice in my head when I'm watching.
Yeah.
And like the criteria is there. And you're right a lot of times.
I've
and
never
like,
personally even been coached by Grant, and I'm hearing it.
You've just seen me coach others, you know?
Yeah. It was actually very helpful. I need to watch more rounds with you
to talk about them afterwards.
Yeah, because after I watched a duo finals or something last year, I was like, I loved this one. And he was like, I thought it was messy. And I was like, there are other components than humor.
And I was like, notice how they never once hit a focal point ever, and they spent half the duo 12 feet apart from each other? Tell me 2 scenes that were tight enough to actually create some kind of memorable frame for you. Oh, okay. Exactly. Last. It was awful.
And now I'm pissed off when I see something like that happening, and I'm like, they should not have won fourth. Like, they were actively breaking a rule.
And then meanwhile, I'm like, now remember that really slow moving piece between just 2 characters that all took place in one room and it seemed to take 25 minutes? Beautiful. Easy first in that round.
Awful. Awful. I mean, hilarious. Awful.
Well, this is good. Let's save some of this for Patreon.
For
Patreon.
Patreon. I need to make sure we don't have a cameo. I got a notification,
we
but
got
I don't know what
lot of those, and we love that. So if you would like to be part of this evening of ours, go ahead and request us on Cameo. If not, if you just want to hear me do a crazy Julia Fox impersonation, please join us on Patreon. If you have stories for In the Night, right?
Yes, In the Night.
In the Night, amazing. That's what I titled this theme, amazing. Or,
you can do whatever the fuck you want with it now.
No, it's fine. That boat gets the message in the night. I don't think there's any other things that I can come up with.
I have
a master's in communication.
I haven't picked my story, but I have had some ideas, one of which I ran by Lydia. And she was like, can you do that for In the Dark? So tune in next week for whatever I do.
Boy, am I about to be really excited if it's one very niche thing I'm talking about, or tremendously disappointed when it's naturally not that thing. Tune in next week.
Maybe I'll do another boat thing. I don't know. I also had another idea during this episode, but I think it would be kind of sad. I need to do something
That's
less
so
sad.
us. Here's a funny little history story that I love so much and I knew a lot about. I just want to know a little bit more about Maia. So we're going to explore the soul tonight.
Her arms were cut off.
Her legs were cut off. Her tongue was cut out.
There was blood dripping down from the ceiling.
And Grant, my podcast co-host, can't leave. Join us on social media and send in your crimes to wellilaughdpod@gmail.com. I'm Grant, and I have another red frog gummy.
Okay, I'm Maia, I think. Okay, goodbye. Love you.
Perfect.